I'm astrologer and life coach Penny Dix. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome back if you're one of my regular visitors. And if you're new here, a very big welcome to you. And a special welcome if you are in the sign of Aquarius, because if your rising sign, your sun, or your moon sign is in the sign of Aquarius, then this is your ultimate overview and guide for the year of 2024. This is going to be, a powerful year for you in particular. You've already been experiencing the dwarf planet Pluto flirting with your sign. Pluto has dipped in and out of your sign at the late degrees of Capricorn, where Pluto, who has been kind of tidying things up and just shifting the energies around a bit to be ready for Aquarius to receive the profound transformational energies of Pluto. So how is this going to affect you personally? Because this planet is a transpersonal planet. In other words, we can't see it. So the planets that we can see are up to the planet Saturn. And then beyond Saturn, we can't see these planets with the naked eye. So they become metaphorically invisible, which I find rather interesting. But it doesn't mean that the power of Pluto will not have an effect on your sign and on your life. I will explain. So first of all, let's just pick out some of the key points of 2024 that you need to be mindful of, because I think this will help you with your planning, with your decisions, with any moves that you may have kind of planned. And, we've been through some very rough waters over the last 3 to 4 years. Is this year going to be different? Well, it's certainly going to be different. Is it going to be better? Well, in some ways, for some people and for some signs, they will see improvements, because if you work with the energies that the astrology is pointing you in the direction of, it can really help. It can really make a massive difference to your life. Because the chart, the actual natal chart, is actually like a map. And when we used to have map reading, way before GPS, way before AI stepped in and took over. Well, of course, back in those heady days of having to learn to read a map, what happened was you would look at a map and you would think, well, if I want the fastest route to get from A to B, I go this way. Well, a natal chart in a way is very similar. If you want to get from point A to point B in the fastest way, then the planets will show you that direction. However, it might not ultimately be the best way forward for you, because you might miss out on all the things you could have discovered and seen if you had taken a more scenic route. So let's kind of think of the natal chart a little bit in that way. But back to Aquarius for 2024, because Pluto will actually move into Aquarius in your first house. So this is very much about you and about how you feel and about how your identity is kind of experienced by other people. So on January the 21st, Pluto moves into Aquarius and stays there for a little while, hanging around, just getting a sense of what the energy is going to be like. Now, this very first day that Pluto moves into Aquarius, it's conjunct the Sun in Aquarius. Now, this is January the 21st. So this is quite a significant day, and it's a day that you might want to kind of mark in your calendar. Not that anything particular is going to happen on that day, but the energy building up to the 21st and beyond the 21st can be significant, because the Sun is our soul, is our heart. Pluto is this, to the naked eye, invisible energy. We can't see it with the naked eye. But a lot of the other planets we can, including Saturn. And did you know that Pluto is actually a feminine energy? I find that very interesting, because Pluto is seen as god of the underworld, but it was the Romans that named him Pluto or Hades. But actually the energy, the archetype of Pluto, meaning its kind of more psychological identity, is feminine. Now, Pluto in your sign gives you the gift of being able to take back the control in areas where you may have let go a bit or lost a feel of being able to steer your life in the direction you would like it to go. It may have been that with all the energies going on over the recent years, you felt even more alone and remote. Pluto entering your sign is going to help you to empower yourself. It is going to help you to transform your energy, your personality into a much more dense and I don't mean in the sense of gaining weight, but dense in the fact that you become much more 4 and 5 dimensional. So a much richer energy for you, Aquarius. So what else is happening? Because we have a very busy month in April. And as I said, I'm not going through each month in intense detail because we'll be here till January 2025. And these are the parts that I will fill in the gaps throughout the year. And remember, if you do like what you're seeing and you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe. And also while you're there, why don't you check out my website, pennydix.com. And if you would like to book a session with me, email me. We are going to start up a proper booking system soon and a payment online, but it's not sorted yet, or at least it's not sorted at the time of recording these videos, which is in December. So actually, no, today is still November, so I'm still in November. So I'm just going to go through some of the main kind of pointers, if you like, of what you can expect in 2024. We have, of course, the usual amount of Mercury retrogrades. And in fact, at the beginning of the year, Mercury comes out of a retrograde and goes direct. So in a sense, it's a good way to start the year. Read, or rather watch my overview, which is available on my channel, overview of 2024, because I go into slightly more details about what you can expect with each month. So Mercury goes retrograde again in Aries on the 1st of April. Now, this is your house of communication. And bearing in mind that Mercury rules the 3rd house and rules Gemini, It's going retrograde, however, in Aries, which is your third house. So there's going to be overthinking abounding. There is going to be ideas abounding. But the universe or the cosmos is asking you to slow down, to take your time to reflect, review, before you resume or redo any projects that you've been thinking about during that first part of the year. So just be mindful of that, Aquarius, because by the 8th of April, and the energy for this will be building throughout the end of February and into the first part of April, we have a total solar eclipse, again in Aries, because that's where the North Node is, and this is your third house of communication. So how does a solar eclipse affect you in the area of your chart to do with communication? Well, are you allowing yourself to be eclipsed? Is a question you might want to ask yourself with whatever might be going on at that time in the year. What else is going on in your life that maybe needs to have some life brought into it, but not just yet? Remember, eclipses in a sense are about timing, because we lose sight of a cosmic object because it gets overshadowed by the earth or the moon. And so this is a new moon. It is about new beginnings and new opportunities, but it's eclipsed. So what it's saying is there may have been lots of ideas that you've been having with Pluto still in your sign. And remember, Pluto is going to be in your sign. Well, it's going to move back and forwards a bit this year, but basically it's here for 20 years. That's a long time to have that powerful energy in the part of your chart that is all about your identity. You have some wonderful opportunities, Aquarius, with this. Let's see what else is coming on, because remember, with all of these pointers that I'm bringing up, I will do in-depth videos about them throughout the year. So you will get to, to have the more in-depth look at these events further on down the path. We've also got Jupiter conjunct Uranus in Taurus in your 4th house of home. That's on the 20th. Now, I'm just saying these words and I just have to tell you, this is huge. This, and not only is Jupiter the sign of expansion, luck, and opportunity in Taurus. Taurus, which is the sign of, well, it can be property, it can be the financial side of your life, but it's in your 4th house of homes. So this is more about your home life and maybe even buying a new property or making big changes to the place where you live. Jupiter, however, is a planet of opportunity and luck. It's also a very and highly spiritual planet. It's conjunct your ruling planet, my lovely big outer boy, also invisible, Uranus. Uranus, the planet of freedom, but also rebellion. The planet of the unexpected, the planet of shocks, the planet of earthquakes. I mean, quite literally, some of you could be almost like building your own house or deconstructing it and reconstructing it. Maybe there's some metaphorical deconstruction going on within the family. And maybe there's some metaphorical reconstruction that has to take place in the family too. That could also be an element of this energy. And remember, that's on the 20th, but it is a very big transit, and I will do a separate video about it. And then soon after that, Jupiter, our planet of surprise and opportunity and luck, moves into Gemini, an air sign. And this is in your 5th house of fun, creativity. That's on the 25th of May. And, you know, Jupiter in your 5th house is going to give you, I think, a boost of energy. And where things might have been a little bit heavy going for some of the time during the first few months of this year, this Jupiter energy in Gemini is going to brighten things up, smarten things up. There's going to be some nice kind of opportunities and events to go to. So Jupiter moving into Gemini for you will be good. It'll also bring you creative ideas. You will have a lot of creative ideas that you need to put down some roots with. You are a fixed sign, Aquarius, but you're an air sign, so sometimes it's not so easy to keep you grounded. But this energy of a fiery planet, Jupiter, in an air sign, Gemini, is really asking you to be a little bit more mindful of what direction you want to allow your ideas to unfold. Which way do you want your passions, the things you're passionate about, which direction do you want them to take? Now I'm moving on to July, because on the 15th, Mars, our planet of action, energy, assertion, sexuality, war, well, it's conjunct Uranus, the planet of surprise, the planet of shocks, the planet of earthquakes, wait for it, in Taurus, in your 4th house of home and family. On July the 15th, I suggest you really take a step back from anything that is brewing in your family that may have been simmering away behind the scenes. Try to remember the cognitive and mindful way of dealing with feelings, which is to respond and not react, because there could be events, unexpected events, that really cause people to blow their top. And this may be that there are things also happening in the world, on the planet, that put a spanner in our works again. We've had all of that over the last, 3 to 4 years, the pandemic, war in Ukraine, war in Israel. I mean, there's been no end to what has been going on. So it's just a kind of heads up. Be mindful of how you drive, what you do, where you go. Also be careful with things like aviation on a day with that kind of energy. So I just want you to have the heads up about July 15th. Right, so on the 2nd of September, Pluto, it's been in your sign for quite a few months now, moves back into Capricorn, in your 12th house of the inner you, of how you work with your inner self. And I think, you know, a lot of Aquarians might have found themselves going into some forms of counselling or therapy over the last 15 to 18 years, because it's been quite a difficult time for you psychologically. I think there's been a lot going on, not just in the external world, but in your own lives that have caused you, or rather Pluto has caused you to go within and reflect. And you may have made a lot of dramatic decisions, and some of which maybe were too hasty, and you wish that you had not. Let's put it that way. So that is the 2nd of September. And then it's followed on the 17th of September by a lunar eclipse in Pisces, in your 2nd house of finance. So a lunar eclipse, of course, is a full moon. This could see a drain on your resources coming to a conclusion, ending, which may be very, which you may be very happy about, to see this drain on your resources finally come to a close. It may be that you have to instigate a stop to a drain on your financial or economic energies. Also look at this lunar eclipse in terms of the fact that it's Pisces. Pisces has no boundaries. Pisces is where we have all our dreams and our we can be paranoid in the sign of Pisces. If it's in a kind of, full moon state, we can imagine all sorts of things that aren't true or aren't clear. Make sure you have your evidence with this lunar eclipse, and that you don't end something that is a bit too hasty, that you didn't need to end. So you can see there's several directions that this kind of energy can kind of pan out. Then we have a solar eclipse in Libra, in your 9th house of higher education, higher learning, spirituality, and long distance travel. And that's on the 2nd of October. Libra, of course, is about balance and harmony. Libra is also cardinal and quite determined to make sure Libra manifests what Libra needs in Libra's life. And you may find yourself being quite assertive around this particular solar eclipse. And, if anyone tries to dull your sparkle, Aquarius, they won't do too well on the receiving end of what you might say. So just be mindful of that, because you might kind of, you could upset a few people, quite frankly. But sometimes, people have to roll with it. And maybe because it's a solar eclipse, you've got to stand back and just think, before you say it, is it kind? Is it true? Is it thoughtful? Is it helpful? Because if it's not, then don't say it. Now, Pluto goes direct in Capricorn in your 12th house on the 11th of October. Now, this is super, super important. Because when a sign, when a planet finally chooses to move on from a sign, it leaves you with a kind of parting gift. It's as if Pluto's saying, if you've done the work, Aquarius, my journey into your sign will be a breeze. It will be a dream for you. It will really help you transform. So 11th of October onwards, You will notice a lot of the energies shifting. It'll almost feel as if time is speeding up. And by the 19th of November, Pluto finally moves into your sign for the next 20 years. This is massive. It's also hugely exciting. And a lot of Aquarians are going to achieve things and achieve kind of public recognition for their contribution to the collective and to science and technology, and also to AI. And one of the things I've mentioned already about AI is that we have to make sure that we are the master and that AI does not make itself the master of us. And already we see this with social media as it, on that very kind of subtle level, gets into our lives and our devices and takes over, so that we believe whatever we hear or see, because especially when we're younger, we don't check out the source. And so it's very important with a planet like Pluto in your sign to check your evidence and to check out your source before you give any information. And then shortly after Pluto's momentous move into Aquarius, and isn't it interesting, because it'll be around the time that the United States of America have their elections, assuming they go ahead, because nothing is set in stone. They're due, but who knows? And so we have a Mercury retrograde on the 26th of November, and it's in Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is, I think it's a lovely sign because it's really expansive. It's ruled by Jupiter, so it has this wonderful expansive energy and this energy of being able to connect and really feel that we have some kind of higher octave, frequency, vibration, connectivity to these higher energies of human consciousness. And I think that's another thing we're going to see with Pluto in your sign, that a lot of Aquarians are going to find that they become far more intuitive. It was there all the time, but Pluto's going to trigger it into working so that you will notice that you really sense different vibrations, different frequencies, different energies. It's going to be super exciting for you. I so hope I'm around in 20 years to see how Aquarians have fared, but I'm going to have to really take very good care of my physical body to make it to 88. So let's see what the gods and the goddesses have planned for me. So with Pluto's move into Aquarius and Mercury, our planet of communication, going retrograde in Sagittarius, in the part of your chart that is to do with the collective. So I think you're going to find that where you've been perhaps being in contact with quite the larger community, things are going to calm down a bit and slow down a bit. And that's okay, because I think actually you will be very grateful for things slowing down for you a bit, Aquarius. And Mercury will actually stay retrograde until the 15th of December, when it will go direct in the sign of Sagittarius. And so anything you're planning on a larger scale, anything that you're trying to launch, any of your dreams and projects, It may just be that you need to take a step back from them at that time of year. So we're looking at in about a year's time that you need to take a step back and just look at whether you could improve, renew, redraw, regroup, just make it the best of what it can be. Because that way I think you get the most out of these energies. Then we have another Mars retrograde. We had one last year. We didn't have one this year. We had a Venus retrograde. And in 2024, we have a Mars retrograde. Now, remember, Mars is the planet of energy, assertion. It can be the physical body. It rules the sign of Aries. It's a fire planet. It's also about sexuality. It's also about, it can be aggression and it can be war. So God forbid we still have wars going on, but with the way the astrology is, it would not surprise me, sadly, that there is still not stuff kicking off all over the place. When, as a society, will we learn? I ask you, Aquarius. Aquarius, you are one of the most enlightened signs. With Pluto in your sign, can you please see if you can do something about getting the collective to love each other, to, literally go back to the 60s idea of make peace, not war, make love, not war, because this is getting silly. And, there is still some quite challenging energy throughout 2024. But back to this Mars retrograde, which is in December, and it starts on the 6th of December, and it's in Leo, which of course is your 7th house of significant relationships. This could bring, on a very mundane level, this could bring someone back into your life that you've had quite a very good physical relationship with. So that could be very welcome or very awkward. You can make of that what you choose, Aquarius, but it could certainly be interesting. And we, at the same time, of course, Mercury is retrograde. So this time next year, by the time we get to December, things are on a slowdown again. And it's interesting how we seem to have this cycle with astrology, that things just get to a point where they slow down. They just, it's almost as if it's in harmony and in sync with the holiday season. Astrology is amazing. So on the 15th, Mercury will go direct in Sagittarius. And then basically, just to let you finally know when Mars goes direct, because it will retrograde back into Cancer, and that's your 6th house of your daily routine. So you could find the first month of 2025 that there is a little bit of slowdown with your daily routine and you can't seem to get things going. So what we do is we make hay whilst the sun shines, and we take a rest when times are quiet. And so Mars will go direct in Cancer, in your 6th house, in February 2025, around the end of February. But more of that next year. So on the whole, in general, Aquarius, you are the sign that really gets the #1 spot, because you have a wonderful opportunity with this Pluto energy in your sign, this energy that transforms, that can be the alchemist, that can turn base metal into gold. You have an opportunity, depending on your own natal chart, to turn metaphorically your ideas into golden opportunities. So I do think in general, if you work with these energies in a positive way, this can be a very constructive year for you. Now, Aquarius, if you want to know more on a personal level, then I suggest you do book a reading with me, because where all these events happen in your birth chart is going to be different for each Aquarian, because you may be a Leo ascendant, you may be a Gemini ascendant, I don't know. And so whatever your rising sign, which is also known as the ascendant, is going to give us the house areas where you can expect these events to unfold. So if you would like to that, as I said earlier, my website, pennydix.com, and you just email me. I am setting up a booking system. It's taking a while. Things do sometimes. Retrogrades, put it down to that. So I'm still doing it in a rather sort of dinosaur fashion. You email me, I reply, we set a date, I send you the PayPal request, I send you the Skype link. Isn't that quaint? Well, I think so. But then I'm a dinosaur, so there we go. But listen, Aquarius, thank you so much for staying and watching your overview for 2024. Check out some of the other signs, check out what your friends are doing, check out what your nearest and dearest are up to. That can also be very helpful for you to navigate your life that might be intertwined with theirs. So please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and I really look forward to seeing you again on my channel. And thank you so much for being here. Have a great 2024 and bye for now.